What's up, y'all? Niggas and niggettes. What's up, everybody? I'm over here having a good day today. Today, it's a beautiful day in this neighborhood. A beautiful day for a neighbor. Would you be mine? Could you be mine? It's a neighborly day. What's up, everybody? Yeah, man, it's a whole thing going on right now. It's both sides are losing it. Both sides are hella stupid. Both sides are hella stupid. Democrats and Republicans. That's why I am not part of either party. I am an independent, and I vote for whoever is saying something that locally that has my best interest at heart. You know what I mean? And if neither politician running has my interest at heart, I just don't vote. I don't check that bubble. I'll go on to the next thing. You know what I mean? You dig what I'm saying? So we about to talk about that today. We about to talk about that. But first, before we get into it, I want to say rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. You know what I mean? Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. You know, one of the most regular ass musicians to ever play an instrument. We all saw his TV show and we saw the values that family was raised with. So rest in peace, Ozzy Osbourne. And rest in peace to the brains of all the fucking idiots on Twitter that didn't get this tweet. I like doing this shit. Look at these people. Look at people's responses. That's not Ozzy Osbourne. Yeah, dumbass. That's the point. Fucking idiot. I like these people. I like seeing these responses. When people be getting mad. I mean, people be like, you have the wrong person. Shut up, fool. It's all the same to me. You saw they put up a goddamn from Malcolm Jamal Warner. They put up a picture of Steve Urkel earlier today on the Daily U.S. Weekly or some shit like that. So yeah, we keeping that same energy. Rest in peace to Ozzy Osbourne. All right. So, and welcome chat room. Thank y'all for joining. We got our reports writer. If you want to report, hit me up. You know, we doing that. But I don't have much time today. I have a major training to do tomorrow, a major corporate training to do tomorrow. So I want to get ready for that. So, but I did want to come to y'all because Mayor Bass, I was checking. It was a hoax that happened here in LA that Mayor Bass got behind. And I was just fucking around on Twitter and I was like, let's see if she took that tweet down. And she didn't. So let's click on the link here and I'm gonna give you guys the original story and then we're gonna see how this shit turned out. Mayor Bass, did they take the link down? Oh, KTLA News, you motherfuckers. You rat bastards. You see, at least KTLA smart enough to take the link down from the original story. KTLA News, they took the link down, but Mayor Bass, acting like a dumbass, didn't take her link down. Well, I'll show you. There was a lady who faked a kidnapping, a faked ICE kidnapping. Her family did a whole GoFundMe and all that shit. And it was a hoax. And the story's been out for, it was discovered last week that this was a hoax. So Mayor Bass has had a week to take this tweet down. Let's play the story. I'm going to play the story for you, then we'll talk about it.
And the feds say she's...
Now, a migrant in California is charged with staging a fake kidnapping and blaming federal agents or people working with them. Correspondent Matt Finn reporting live on this from LA. Hi, Matt.
Hi, Martha. This woman is here illegally, a Mexican national. She goes by Julie Calderon, and the feds say she's being charged with lying to police and conspiracy for this elaborate hoax that they believe was meant to incite even more tension and also possibly make some money. Federal investigators say a key piece of evidence, photos. Calderon and her co-conspirators had pictures ready, staged to make it look like she was in custody with a dirty face, even removing her shoelaces. But the feds say there's at least one glaring error, because she would have been asked to take off the necklace in an official federal photo. The U.S. government says surveillance video helped them crack the case. The feds say this woman lied about being kidnapped by federal agents at a Jack in the Box here in L.A., taken to San Ysidro to the south, and asked to self-deport, but she refused, so she was held in a warehouse. But the feds say they caught her roaming free in the Bakersfield area, hundreds of miles north. This scheme went to extremes: a filed police report, a GoFundMe, even a press conference announcing her disappearance.
So in this very parking lot a week ago, ununiformed men in unmarked cars kidnapped Julie. And with her courage and her strength, even though we don't know where Julie is, and we don't know when we will find her, Julie has managed to make 2 phone calls to the family since she's been kidnapped.
The Department of Justice says Calderon was indeed using her iPhone during her alleged disappearance, which helped them locate her. She faces a maximum of 10 years if convicted. The U.S. attorney here in L.A. says, quote, dangerous rhetoric that ICE agents are kidnapping illegal migrants is being recklessly peddled by politicians and echoed in the media to inflame the public and discredit our courageous federal agents. We do have calls into that attorney who you saw in that video who is representing this woman. And also there are also co-conspirators listed throughout this federal complaint, so we expect there may be more people charged here.
Incredible. Thank you very much, Matt Finn.
So there you have it. Our tax-paying resources are going to investigate a hoax from an illegal. That's how bold these cats have gotten. Not only are you in the country, the city, the state illegally, you and your family go so far as to set up a hoax, and you so goddamn stupid. You use your phone. Not only is this motherfucker a criminal, this is a dumbass criminal. Looking like the tamale lady. So, and again, I don't stand against anybody. Look, I'm not against nobody. Look, this government makes so much goddamn money. Look, I'm not against citizens. I'm not against people. I'm more anti-corporations that are anti-union. I'm pro-union. I'm pro-obey and follow the law. You know? I'm pro-union. I'm pro-organized labor, collective bargaining, honest pay, honest work. I don't care what race you are. I'm with all that. But what I'm not with is criminal activity. And one of the major reasons why I'm not with the criminal activity is my taxes got to pay this shit in court now. This is California. California has a $1 billion, California has a $12 billion deficit. LA, a $1 billion deficit. Money that's going to be taken from other coffers that are set aside for the citizens. And now we got to deal with this. And so Mayor Karen Bass, she was showing, as you see here in the link, she had the original story posted. And she wrote, she's a mother from LA taken out of her car on the way to work and then held in a warehouse as officers hoped she would self-deport. No hearing, just fear. This doesn't make anyone safer. This tweet was posted, as you see, July the 1st. So it's now been, today's July 22nd. So 21 days after this was posted, this tweet is still up. Yet we found out this was a hoax on July 17th. Am I the only person that see a problem with that? Appreciate that super chat, Black Sigma. Yeah, this is from the Edward Bernays PR propaganda playbook, right? You see this? This is the world we live in now. They spend all this time talking about MAGA's lying, MAGA's lying, MAGA is wrong, MAGA did this wrong, MAGA did that wrong, MAGA's lying, and MAGA's full of shit, no doubt. This just shows that both sides are full of shit. It ain't just MAGA. That's my biggest thing when it comes to this whole MAGA thing. My biggest thing is, man, this is all these motherfuckers. Let's get that strizzy. This is all of them. All of them. Which now takes us to the other story. And I do not have a phone line today. I still didn't set my phone line up. I need a new phone line. And it still ain't been set up. I would love to have, this is one of the topics I'd love to have y'all call in on. But I ain't got a call log. So in other news, like I told y'all before, this 9 of hearts here, people on the same team are going to be fighting one another. And the purpose of this fight is to see what's real and what's not. And we have folks going at each other in families, in organizations, in businesses, Republican Party, Democrat Party, political parties. We're seeing these fights break out like I told you it would when I initially read the year. So now MAGA, like we've talked about before, the MAGA crowd, they want the Epstein files. They want Epstein. Epstein, 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 Epstein. As you can see all throughout here, they want Epstein, but Trump tried to give them Martin Luther King instead. And for probably the first time in American history, a Negro wasn't an adequate distraction for white suspected criminal behavior. We got to mark this day down. July 20th, 21st, 22nd, we got to mark this time down. Midsummer, the dog days of summer of 2025. You mean to tell me a black man, especially a black man like Martin Luther King, wasn't enough red meat to get the right wing and to get America not distracted from white criminality? Whoa! Do you see here? They're still on his ass. He's over here talking about Obama manufactured the Russia hoax and Crooked Hillary and Sleepy Joe. And what's MAGA saying? Still not distracted. Release the Epstein files. Look at this tweet here. These people are not playing. Now, I want y'all to see this Donald Trump right here, this report, where he blasts supporters. Look at Trump. He mad. Trump is mad as fuck. Watch this report.
President Trump said his administration would release the Epstein files, but now he says those files are a hoax. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Kira Phillips. Trump continuing to blame Democrats, claiming without providing evidence the party created these files to undermine him and that Republicans who believe it are getting duped. The president writing on social media today, their new scam is what we'll forever call the Jeffrey Epstein hoax, and my past supporters have bought into the BS, hook, line, and sinker. Trump adding, let these weaklings continue forward and do the Democrats' work. Don't even think about talking of our incredible and unprecedented success because I don't want their support anymore. Let's bring in our Washington, D.C. Bureau Managing Editor, Catherine Faulders, for more. So releasing the Epstein files was a major part of Trump's campaign last year. We talked a lot about it. Now he says it's a hoax. Doesn't make sense.
It doesn't. And I think that is what many people are asking the president, whether it's his supporters, whether it's reporters in the Oval Office with him. What does he mean by that? What is a hoax? Who's told him that? Has the Attorney General Pam Bondi relayed that information? Now, Trump was asked that by ABC's Mary Bruce today, to which he essentially said, no, he's the one that thinks it's a hoax. He knows it's a hoax. That's obviously a baseless claim without any evidence, and obviously begs the question why he's bringing this up now. It has outraged many of his most vocal MAGA supporters. So the big question is, where does this end? I'm not quite sure. Of course, there's calls on Congress for testimony. We'll see what happens with that, whether there's investigations launched. But right now, it doesn't seem like any more files will be released. Trump is putting the ball in Attorney General Pam Bondi's court. He wants her to release the credible evidence. Begs the question, what is the quote-unquote credible evidence that Trump is talking about? But the reality is, Kira, this is not a story that's going away anytime soon.
Right. We know he was friends with Jeffrey Epstein. We've seen the videos. We've seen the pictures. We've seen the pictures of the First Lady and the president and Jeffrey Epstein. And you got a great question to the president on departure yesterday, asking, about Pam Bondi. And did she tell the president he was in those files? And he didn't really answer the question.
No, he brushed it off. He said, no, there was a short briefing that he was given by the Attorney General, and then he went into the fact that he believed that this was made up and a hoax. So what we've learned, of course, is that the Attorney General briefed him. It appears on the contents of what was in those files after that months-long review by the DOJ and the FBI, but he didn't answer the question about whether or not his name is in the files. Of course, we know that that is a theory that's been floated, for example, by Elon Musk, that there is speculation about. Trump hasn't answered that question directly. So we'll see where this goes. But again, right now, he's eager to move past this, but his supporters really aren't.
Well, some Republicans are even calling for Epstein's convicted co-conspirator, Ghislaine Maxwell, to testify before Congress. Do you think we could see that happen?
Look, never say never in Congress. I know our Jay O'Brien has been running around chasing lawmakers on this question. We know that some of Trump's top allies in the Senate have been calling for testimony, for public testimony in congressional hearings. There haven't been, for example, any letters to our knowledge sent requesting her testimony. Nothing's been scheduled. But the point is, on the congressional side of this, Trump's allies in Congress, at least some of them, including House Speaker Mike Johnson, who wants Pam Bondi to clear up some of her answers on this, the reality is they're not letting this go away either. They want to get to the bottom of this. And frankly, essentially, the different answers that Pam Bondi has been given. What's real here? What's the truth? Let's bring them up here to testify, whether it's Ghislaine Maxwell, whether it's getting additional answers from Pam Bondi. So there will be, it appears, a lot of congressional action on this to come.
Story's not going away, that's for sure. Catherine, thank you.
Gentlemen, do you have a wonderful secret you'd like to share?
What was that? So there you have it. So there you have it. There you have it. So you see what we talking about here. These MAGAs ain't letting that shit go. They dropped the Dr. King files, and you notice the timing of it came as Epstein and the pressure about Epstein and releasing his files continued to grow. They have been saying they ordered the release of the King files back in January, and they have been saying the release is coming. But if you notice, this all comes out right when they're really pushing. And this is something I want to point out, y'all. It's the first time I've noticed in American history, and as far as in my lifetime, that a black person wasn't enough. A black man wasn't enough to distract America from white criminality. This is something different, y'all. This is something different. I want us to pay attention. And then you see what Karen Bass is doing. Karen Bass is over here in LA. She's doubling down on the immigration thing against the president. And so bold, she's not even deleting the tweet from something the feds, the main folks, are saying that is a hoax. And see right here, this is why I don't play sides. I don't like either party. Both parties are for corporations and against us. Both parties are for the power, because make no mistake about it when it comes to Karen Bass. The battery in her back are these LA billionaires, these California billionaires. They want their cheap labor. They want immigrants to feel safe here in California so they can continue to get the cheap labor. This isn't the voters. Hell, if you talk to a lot of Latinos are like, man, they're down with the shits because hell, especially the Chicanos don't even like the ones fresh over the border. They like, man, get them up out of here. When you talk to most people, most non-entertainers, and they like, man, it's not that they're supporting ICE, but most non-entertainers here in LA are like, look, they got to do what they got to do. We got too much other shit going on. And now with Karen Bass giving out those cash cards here in California, here in LA, people of all races are hyper-focused and hyper-mad at this bullshit. Got it? And I wanted to point out one thing. And today I have a new series I think I'm gonna start, and it's gonna be called Today in Music History, or if not in American history. There we go. 1 second. This is kind of like last second right here. Let me see here. Here we go. I found it. Today in music history, we're going to talk about John Phillips. John Phillips is the leader of the group, the Mamas and the Papas, Rock and Roll Hall of Fame group. Do you guys know that he had an incestuous relationship with his daughter, Mackenzie Phillips? Yes. Mackenzie Phillips, they said at one point, had a tattoo on her body that said daddy. And while this man was with the group that was one of the most influential groups on the LA rock scene, he had been with his daughter since she was a child. John Phillips from the Mamas and the Papas. People got it, and his daughter Mackenzie Phillips, she talked about it in her memoir, High on Arrival. Why am I pointing this out? I'm pointing this out because in America, they've always liked to criminalize black men, especially black artists. And the black artists that they criminalize don't do 1/3 of what these other folks be doing. Even R. Kelly, I think he's a sick degenerate, because I think anybody's a degenerate if you in your goddamn 30s messing with teenagers. But R. Kelly was messing with chicks that was 16, 17 years old, which is still nasty, but legal in some states. It was known while this man was alive, not only was he incestuous with his daughter, he was part of an underground cult, I should say, to be safe. An underground cult here in LA that did a lot of incest, in not only incest, but being with minors. He was part of the Laurel Canyon clique, along with Crosby, Stills, and Nash, Frank Zappa, and this whole weird, twisted cabal of weirdos. I bring this up because today was the first time in the last couple of days in my memory, like I said before, that the news of a black man didn't distract America from white criminality. And I got to give a salute to the MAGA folks and the former MAGA folks and the people on the right and the left that are stand at MAGA over this whole Epstein thing. Because if we pay close attention to the MAGA folks, not the MAGA folks, the Epstein folks, these are people who have a high desire. They want to protect children. These are the same folks that are against trans folks competing in the opposite sex in sports. These are the folks that are for not having, sexual kind of talk given to children and people from different backgrounds reading to children. I agree. I align with that crowd on this particular subject. I don't really give a damn about Epstein myself, but Epstein is the pillar of human trafficking. He's a pillar of child molestation. He's a pillar of corruption and espionage. So there's a crowd out there, that same right-wing crowd that MAGA, rallied up, the same people who were part of the Tea Party before MAGA, this right-wing rage. Well, we see now that crowd has somewhat of a moral compass. And they draw the line at touching children, which I salute them for, because the left tends to ignore the children when it comes to things like this. This is a major problem in America. Nothing I want to ever highlight and trivialize. But we see that it seems as if, from my opinion, that they've created a monster with this rabid base that's really strong ideologically. And that base seems to be crashing in on MAGA. So as we see here with John Phillips, and I'll highlight more artists as we go along, but, Chuck Berry went to jail for taxes. This man never did. Somebody said, DeJuan, do me a favor. Bruh, we're like a decade late on that, my man. Thank you, I salute. But the Trump Epstein pictures, that's been around pre-pandemic. That's been around for a long time, my brother. A long time. I looked that up years and 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 years ago. Thank you, my brother. So, yeah, so this is what I want to talk about. But yeah, like I said, today ain't going to be a long show. I got a very important training to do tomorrow that I have to get ready for. A corporate training. So I got to go over my notes to get ready for that. I just want to point this out. We're in this 9 of Hearts year, like I told y'all. You see these 9 of these MAGAs going at it. You see Karen Bass over here not even taking tweets down. They're showing us what it is. The purpose for this fight this year, the purpose for all this internal combustion is so people can discover for themselves what's real and what's not. Now, we all got decisions to make. You can see something that's fake as fuck, but you still have the choice to follow what's fake. That's where free will comes in. Everybody has their free will to choose what direction they follow. Everyone has the free will to choose which direction they follow. We all got free will. So now that you see what things are you still going to be somebody that's 10 toes down for a couple bullshit ass parties that don't give a fuck about you? Or are you going to let it go? And realize that we as tax-paying citizens, we all we got. The people on top don't give a fuck about us either way it go. Go to DeJuanB.com right now. We 3 classes in. We got 2 more classes to go. You still can sign up if you want to be part of the summer school. 2 more classes to go, all right? But I want to thank y'all again for listening. Remember, there are no perfect messengers. Only perfect messages for those willing to pick up the game. We out.